Greetings, people. We're back in the forest again. I feel like we've been in the forest a lot, and we're at 7, the Chariot. I know, I got to speed this up a little bit. Maybe the Chariot will help so I can get going with these. But it also gives you a chance to mull them over and mull over the things that I talk about in each video. So, the Chariot. Cedar, thuja pilcata. And I will let you know that most of the plants I've noticed grow on the west coast. Most of the trees that she has picked are western growing trees. So this is a western cedar. And we'll talk about the eastern cedar later. Move forward with confidence. Let me see. I'm not very confident today. Move forward with confidence. Be disciplined yet flexible in your pursuits. Embody the journey. A mandala lies on a dark forest floor. A cedar branch stripped of its needles forms the shape of roots, while another, fuller one, makes the shape of a tree canopy. The two stems come together to create a trunk. Cones encircle the tree. The mandala is framed by lush boughs above and below. A starlit sky casts an aurora around the tree. Life is a forward-moving gift. Embark on a deeper quest. Learn from ancient wisdom and forge a new path. Cedar is both a spiritual vessel used in sacred ceremony and literal vessel when it is used for making canoes. Like strong, flexible cedar roots finding their way through the forest, be determined and opportunistic. Travel between the worlds of heaven and earth. Bring the knowledge of spirit and soul into the body. Just as the cedar trunk contains the stories of earth. Have faith and experience. It is not the triumph, but the journey that leads to the mastery. Crafting with the Chariot. Encounter cedar in the wild. Ask for guidance. Carry a small leaf in your pocket for courage. Practice discipline and flexibility. Learn to harvest cedar honorably with ceremony and intention. Journey into the spirit realms with cedar steam or cedar smudge. And that's one of the things I know cedar for, is for smudging and clearing out energies and getting energy to move. That's what I'm most familiar with. So today we go back to the forest book, Tree Medicine, Tree Magic by Ellen Evert Hoffman. So the northern white cedar that is mostly in the east is Thuja occidentalis, the first Native American tree introduced to Europe. Tea made from the foliage and bark save many sailors from scurvy because it's part of the pine family and evergreen. And we talked about pine or the hemlock and how that is full of vitamin C and extremely nutrient. And it is an aromatic evergreen with a conical crown. It attains a height of 70 feet with a trunk diameter of 3 feet. The leaves are small, scale-like, and flat pairs with a gland dot yellow above and blue-green beneath. The bark is reddish-brown and shredded. The twigs are flattened, jointed, and horizontal. The cones are elliptical, brown, and upright, with 8 to 10 blunt paired scales. It grows in swamps in neutral to alkaline soils from Nova Scotia to Maine till Illinois and North Carolina. It grows in altitudes to 3,000 feet in southern regions. So that is the eastern cedar, and then there is the western cedar, which she mentioned in her book. Thuja, the tree of life, may have received its name when imported to Europe from America in 16th centuries. A Flemish botanist named it in 1576, possibly because the tree's structure reminded him of cross-sections of the cerebellum of the human brain, which has a tree-like form known as a abortivate. So it could come from the Greek word thia or thuja, to fumigate or to sacrifice, because of the ancient Greece belief in the tree, because they used it in their religious rites. As we know, cedars were given reference in Bible scriptures. Solomon discusses the virtues of cedar, hyssop, and juniper, and commanded that the cedar be used in building of a temple. Yahweh used cedar and hyssop for cleansing. A Chariot was compared to a beautiful cedar in God's garden. So cedar this is a good thing, and then this is something I could bring up sometime and do a separate video on. Cedar is an example of a plant demonstrating the doctrine of signatures, an ancient concept from a time when people couldn't read, but that doctrine of signatures is still carried over today. It was believed, and is still believed by many herbalists, that I might add, that plants bore signatures given to them by the Creator. With these signatures, the herbal virtues of a plant could be discerned. For example, plants useful for liver complaints often have yellow roots, or flowers, dandelion, celandine, barberry root. Plant beneficial for the heart are often red, hawthorn, rose hips, and plants that heal mucosa and skin are often mucilaginous, aloe, and comfrey. White cedar grows tiny warts on its leaf, and this reveals its healing virtue. Cedar salves work well for rheumatoid afflictions. Twigs from this tree can make decoctions which produce herbal abortions. However, they can cause severe gastrointestinal irritations. Small amounts will stimulate the heart muscle and are useful to treat intermittent fevers, rheumatism, cough, scurvy, and also work of an emmenagogue to promote menstruation. That's what a emmenagogue is. And an alcohol tincture of white cedar is known for effectiveness on venereal warts, and it can remove them completely in 3 to 4 weeks. The tincture is taken internally or applied locally to the affected area. To make the tincture, take fresh branched leaves and flowers and pound them to a pulp and use it in a blender. And add 2/3 of the weight in grain alcohol. Store for at least 8 days in cool, dark place, then strain and filter and store in a glass bottle. In homeopathy, white cedar, thuja occidentalis, main spirit action is in the genitourinary tract, where it has an antibacterial effect. Gonorrhea, warty occurrences, and complaints resulting from vaccinations have all been relieved by white cedar. It is sometimes used to treat asthma in children. The leaf or the oil of the leaf is used to scent soap. Caution, talked about essential oils, should never be ingested because it can be extremely toxic, even fatal, in small doses. So that's about it from this book. So you can see that we don't often think of the tree, our tree species, as being useful for medicines, but they are extremely useful. And what's great about most trees is you don't have to cut them down to harvest from them. If you're harvesting the bark, obviously, but most of the trees you can harvest simply by gathering small branches or twigs, like you were pruning the tree, as long as you're not commercially gathering them to sell. As long as you're just taking enough for yourself to use, then you're not going to do any harm. It's when we start to get commercialized in large productions that we start hurting the ecosystem. You know, I believe there's enough for everybody, but when we are spending so much of plant material on essential oils, then we are losing a lot of plant material to that, and that is really a shame. So if we gather our own plants, then we are not buying mass-produced and mass production. We're not supporting that. And there are plenty of local, small herbalists that are not making copious amounts and therefore harvesting smartly, or purchasing from companies that have a good reputation. It's so important to be careful where you get your herbs from. Are they being ethically wild harvested? And some people say wild harvesting can never be ethical. I disagree with that. I think we need to be more conscious of supporting small business and not supporting big business. Small business is usually 1 or 2 people, and you're not supporting a whole industry. You're supporting the way it used to be, when the cottage down the road was the place to get your herbal medicines back, way back in the day. You went to the special medicine woman or the medicine type man, for lack of a better word, to get your medicines from. And that's the way it should be. So there's plenty of local herbalists across the country. So you don't need to support these multi-level marketing corporations or these large corporations that are selling out of drugstores, because that's not really good. It's not, because the more you have big money, big corporations involved, the more profit is bottom line, and it's not about correct use, the right use of plants. So that's it for today, and next we will go on to strength. So many blessings, and remember to be wild. Don't forget to check the like button if you enjoy these series of videos. Check out my website. Check out, you can always send me a donation if you're enjoying this series through my PayPal. It would be greatly appreciated. I'm trying to get a new vehicle. So, a newer vehicle. I know I'm out of a vehicle right now. I need to get a vehicle. So, many blessings, and remember to be wild.